You know, when you think about cyber warfare, your mind probably jumps to these high-tech assaults on super secure government servers, right? These big digital sieges on digital fortresses. But the whole nature of that fight, it's changing. And the new front line, it's probably a lot closer to home than you think. In fact, it might just be sitting in your pocket right now.
So let's just start with a classic strategic question. How do you attack a fortress? I mean, the real deal. High walls, armed guards, all those layers of defense. Well, in the digital age, the smartest strategy isn't at all what you'd expect.
See, you don't launch a big, loud frontal assault on the castle anymore. That's the hard way. Instead, you find a much weaker way in. You pick the lock on the garden gate. And in modern cyber warfare, that garden gate is the personal, private digital life of a very high-level official.
Let's look at a real-world example of this. We're talking about the hacking of Kash Patel, who was a really high-ranking national security official. Now, on the surface, the breach of his personal email, it seemed like no big deal, but it was actually a perfect masterclass in this whole new kind of warfare.
So what did the hackers actually get their hands on? Was it classified intelligence? Some kind of government secrets? No. Not at all. They found old, reused passwords, some family photos, records of him searching for apartments, basically all the mundane junk that, let's be honest, we all have floating around in our personal inboxes.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This is the central puzzle. If the data they stole was basically worthless, why would a sophisticated, state-sponsored hacking group even bother? Why in the world does a digital junk drawer matter for national security? Well, the answer lies in what experts are now calling the junk drawer problem. And it's all about this fundamental shift in strategy, where the absolute weakest link in the entire national security chain, it's not a server, it's a person. This really lays out the choice they're making perfectly. On one side, you've got the castle, those hardened, classified government networks. Trying to get into these is incredibly difficult, a huge effort. But on the other side, you have the garden gate, the vulnerable, informal, personal accounts of the people who work inside that castle. Adversaries are just being logical. They're choosing the path of least resistance.
This whole strategic shift, it actually has a name: tactical displacement. And all it really means is redirecting your effort from a target that's way too hard to attack to one that's much softer and way more accessible. I mean, why would you bang your head against a fortified wall when the back door is just sitting there wide open?
And this quote, this just gets right to the heart of it. The battlefield, what we call the attack surface, it has moved. It's no longer just about those external government servers anymore. It has literally migrated inward to the personal phones and laptops that officials carry in their pockets and use in their homes every single day.
So that brings us to the real motive. If the goal isn't to steal state secrets, what's it all about? Well, the prize isn't the data itself, it's the headline. It's about turning the story into a weapon.
The main objective here isn't gathering intelligence, it's about humiliation. It's about showing the world that even the most powerful officials are vulnerable, and by doing that, you undermine their credibility and you sow chaos. And this whole strategy, it follows a really clear four-step playbook. Step 1, breach somebody's personal account. Simple enough. Step 2, make sure everyone knows about it. Publicize the intrusion. Step 3, sit back and watch it generate political friction. And then the final goal, Step 4, undermine the public's trust in their institutions. And here it is. This is the key takeaway. The strategic value was never inside Kash Patel's inbox. The value was in the headline, FBI director hacked. That single headline does way more damage and creates way more disruption than any family photo ever could.
And of course, timing is everything. Adversaries have become total experts at spotting and exploiting a very specific recurring window of national vulnerability. This vulnerability gap, it happens during this really critical period. So right after an election, a person suddenly becomes a high-value target. But during that transition period, before they're officially brought onto secure federal systems, they're still using their personal devices, their personal email. It's a window of maximum exposure. And this isn't just a theory, okay? We saw this play out in late 2020. Multiple incoming officials were targeted by cyber actors with links to Iran and China, and it was all during that critical transition window. It is a proven and it is a repeatable tactic. So, what does this all mean? What's the bottom line? This new threat is forcing a complete redefinition of what national security even is. It's moving the defensive perimeter away from the institution and onto the individual. In response, you're seeing the U.S. government shift its whole defensive posture. We're talking about proactive monitoring of personal credentials, making hardware security keys mandatory, and holding extensive briefings on these new kinds of risks. The strategy is pretty clear. It's time to harden the garden gate.
Because in this new era of information warfare, the private digital lives of public officials, they're no longer some side issue. They're not separate from the job. They are the new front line of national security.